Hello, I'm Davia Chambers and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at the Scarborough Methodist Church located in Tobago's capital. This is one of the oldest churches in Tobago, built in 1826 while this island was under English rule. The steeply arched roof is representative of the style of architecture that flourished during the medieval period, and there are also Palladian influences as evidenced by the arched window openings. Other notable features are the high over-rafter wooden ceiling and marble tiles on the steps. In some ways, this church encapsulates part of Tobago's history. For instance, the bricks used in the construction of this building were discarded clay bricks from Europe, which were used as ballast on sugar ships returning to Tobago. We'll tell you more as the program continues, but first, here's a look at what's happening in our stories this week. On the road to becoming a teaching hospital, students from Pacific Lutheran University to shadow medical professionals and volunteer in schools, healthcare and social service agencies in Tobago, introducing new elements to Tobago's Carnival, and he works for a company whose clients include Stars, MTV and Disney, and he's one of our own, the story of a motion graphics artist from the Village of Hope.
SIT Tobago, ready to provide your community with the highest degree of professional services in emergency response. Contact SIT Mariah at 660-0065 or SIT Speyside at 660-6096. SIT 24-hour services, emergencies, medical or other. SIT Pro, the new face of emergency management.
This is Let's Talk Tobago, and today we're at the Scarborough Methodist Church in the heart of our island's capital. This church sits on at least 3 lots of land donated by plantation owners. They used their expertise to design the building, but the labor was free because slavery had not been abolished. But after a century, restoration work needed to be done. And this was one of 3 churches identified by the Tobago House of Assembly, the THA, as part of its initiative to enhance Scarborough. How it worked is, the Assembly supplemented the money raised by the church for its restoration project, and last year, this church was given a Heritage Preservation Award by the National Heritage Trust of Trinidad and Tobago as the best historic restoration project. Now that's a huge deal, but there's another potentially big one for this island. The Scarborough General Hospital achieving teaching hospital status. The idea is to provide clinical education and training to future and current physicians, nurses, and other health professionals while still offering patient care. This is part of a bigger plan to develop health tourism on this island. But before Tobago gets there, those in the health and social services sectors are taking baby steps, and one way they're doing that is the continuation of the work experience program with the Pacific Lutheran University. Omadara Mills picks up that story.
With our beautiful beaches, lush vegetation, friendly people, and improved healthcare facilities, Tobago wants to establish itself as the premier source of health tourism. And with this comes...
We have set ourselves a strategic goal to become the #1 healthcare facility, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the region. And we have set ourselves even larger goals to become a teaching hospital. And an even larger goal to become accredited.
That's the reason the Division of Health and Social Services under the Tobago Regional Health Authority has partnered with the Department of Social Work at the Pacific Lutheran University to engage these students in experiencing the healthcare and social services on the island through a course called Social, Educational and Health Services in Tobago.
Our students come away with amazing experiences. They learn a lot about culture, about themselves interacting in another culture, and a lot about how there are different ways of doing things in different countries, and that's a really important learning. They come with, this is how we've done it back in the U.S., but then they come and say, oh, this is a different way, and this really works and makes sense in this context.
One of the 19 students participating in the course is Gina Ferretti, a fourth-year student in nursing. She says that this course will help her with her career goals.
I chose to participate because I'm really interested in working in other countries and doing more like humanitarian work, so it's good to be part of a program that allows us to do that here.
And another student sees it as an opportunity not just to learn about the island's health system, but its culture.
I chose to come here to learn more about a more global healthcare system, to see how the culture plays into the healthcare system, and maybe the history that also plays into the nation.
This program between the division and the university has been ongoing for over 8 years. The students will be on the island for 3 weeks, learning from a range of health and social services institutions. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
The public service in the Caribbean is notorious for being bureaucratic, but one organization in Tobago is trying to change this image, and no, it's not a 2015 resolution. In fact, they've already begun the process. Last year, they held a staff symposium to chart a new course, one that will make the organization and employees accountable. That process is continuing. Here's an update from Caroline Wallace.
Can we achieve excellence in the Assembly Legislature? Yes. Right.
Part of the process the staff at the Assembly Legislature Secretariat is undergoing as they attempt to craft an organization where high levels of excellence is the hallmark, and they're learning that it starts with the individual.
Either love what you do or go and do what you love. There are a lot of people who rock in the boat because they don't like what they do, and they prevent other people from doing it. So, I want to encourage you, while you are in the Assembly Legislature, find a way to love what you do.
Creating change in the workplace goes hand in hand with teething issues. But according to Mr. Stewart, this stage is necessary if the organization is to achieve the turnaround it's aiming for. These employees also learned that self-control is important.
I would certainly like to see more cooperation and positive attitudes.
But the leadership of the organization too got lessons in what it takes to bring about change.
To top management, your surroundings are important, and therefore how the environment is can also propel excellence.
The presiding officer at the Assembly, Calvin Charles, says he hopes the staff internalizes all the information given.
Recognizing that change is a conscious activity. It has to be consciously managed, but at the same time, a lot depends on personal attitudes and behaviors, because it is together, once we identify those areas that we need to change to, and there is a commitment to engage the process or processes to take us there, then I do hope that at the end of today's activity, we can have that kind of understanding.
The theme of the symposium is Excellence Without Excuses. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
The retention of traditional masks is just one of the features that makes Tobago's Carnival attractive. But in order for the masks to be properly coordinated and implemented, there's an administrative aspect which Carnival patrons don't see. The Tobago Zone of the National Carnival Bands Association, the NCBA, handles that side of things. And as of October last year, they've moved into a new space. With this new environment comes plans to make this island's mass better than before. Let's find out what changes are being made and how the Tobago Zone of the NCBA plans to increase profitability for local bands and to transfer cultural knowledge to the younger generation.
These are the scenes of Tobago's mass which patrons take in on Carnival Monday and Tuesday. And with the new administrative office of the Tobago Zone of the National Carnival Bands Association in Canaan, the organizers of the island's mass are in a position to effectively carry out the revamped agenda of the mass fraternity. An aspect of that plan is creating a more business-oriented environment for band leaders. And one way of doing that is through the first NCBA Tobago Zone band launch.
We thought it prudent to bring our band leaders into the fold, into the new trust, by having them advertise their costume, because this will be streamed worldwide.
Now, with the entrepreneurial spirit, the Tobago zone of the NCBA is seeking to revise mass camps, an initiative which will bring a new dimension to the Carnival experience for locals and visitors.
I know how important a mass camp is, because you have a series of spin-off from it. You would involve the village, you would involve the elderly and the young. The elderly who can come out into like a community center to sell products.
There are also plans to include more youths in the transfer of knowledge of the island's traditional mass through workshops. And with the Tobago Zone's initiatives comes the support from the THA.
We have a very good working relation with the Division of Community Development and Culture. Dr. Soyafat was present at our opening, and she pledged support for the projects that we have underway.
It's hoped that with the new office and initiatives by the NCBA's Tobago Zone and the grants by the Division of Community Development and Culture, Tobago's 2015 Carnival will be a better one. I'm Umdara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're taking a break, but stay with us. We'll introduce you to Sikani Solomon, a motion graphic artist making Tobago proud.
Small bites equal major consequences. Protect yourself and your loved ones from mosquito-transmitted diseases such as dengue and chikungunya. Take these simple steps. Empty and clean water storage vessels and flower pots, saucers regularly. Clear gutter and nearby bush which may harbor mosquitoes. Install mosquito screens on windows and at other entry points. Use mosquito nets, repellents, and wear long-sleeved clothing. Take action now. Small bites equal major consequences. A message from the Public Health Department. Telephone number 639-5294 or 639-1433.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tobago. Thanks for staying with us at the Scarborough Methodist Church here in Tobago's capital. In this church are commemorative plaques recognizing past members from as far back as the 1800s. Our late Prime Minister and President Arthur N.R. Robinson attended this church. We're told he sat right here in this pew when his parents brought him as a child. Last year on May 3rd, as part of his 5-day state funeral, a Thanksgiving service celebrating his life and legacy took place right here at the church. But let's leave it there for now to turn our attention to the story of a Tobagonian who's been successful in the animation and motion graphics industry. He's from the Village of Hope and is now working for a company that counts among its clients Stars, MTV, Disney, and Gillette. And as he builds his career, he's also taking time to give back, sharing what he's learned with other Tobagonians.
These are the creative ideas of Sikani Solomon, a 24-year-old motion graphic designer and animator who currently works for the Emmy Award-winning design studio Imagery Forces in New York. And before he made it to where he is now, he gained a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in motion media design at the Savannah College of Art and Design in the United States. With the help of finances from his parents, a SCAD scholarship, and the Tobago House of Assembly.
I was just really happy that came through because, you know, it's always a little bit of guilt having a strain on your parents sending you to such a, a school. So I think thanks for that help, from the THA. And I think the least I could do is to actually start to give back to Tobago, seeing that they helped me to reach to where I am.
In giving back, Sikani facilitated a motion graphics, animation, and visual effects workshop with locals in the graphic design and audiovisual industry, a seminar that they are grateful for.
I'm a person who does normal graphics, and being able to have an idea about the motion graphics would be good, because not only that, but knowing what programs to use, like the Cinema 4D or the other ones that he actually mentioned. Yeah, it will give me an idea of which ones to use and how to use them.
Camera operator and video editor Lincoln Bacchus says that he sees Sikani's success in this field as an inspirational one.
There's not a fully developed film industry here in Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes it feels like no hope, or you get discouraged at times, but knowing that, okay, here's a Tobagonian that out there pursuing his dreams is really encouraging.
Sikani believes that this aspect of the audiovisual industry is a profitable one for Tobagonians.
The main point was really to show the wide range of things people could get involved in. And I think, that was achieved, showing, like, this is something you watch on TV and the movies, but I'm sure you never thought you could be the one doing that.
Sikani plans to come back to the island in the future and carry out more motion graphics seminars on a larger scale. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
And we're staying with the feel-good theme a while longer. This time to tell you about Golf with a Purpose. This tournament began a decade ago as a way of making money and encouraging others to play golf in Tobago. But since then, it has grown into much more, giving back to people and organizations on the island. Over the last few years, it has helped the St. Andrew's Anglican Church Library, the Yahweh Foundation, and Cecile Grandison. Let's find out who or which organization benefited this time round.
Appliances that are well suited and appreciated by the management and members of the Infinity Home for the Aged, a place designed to care for senior citizens. And the good work done here is part of the reason the Chief Secretary, Orville London, along with the organizers of the Chief Secretary's charity golf tournament, chose this home as the 2014 recipients of their charity donation.
I have taken a tour and I'm overwhelmed. From what I see here, if I do get to do that ripe old age, I would like to stay here, Pearl. I'm very happy with what I have seen, and I think the washers and dryers is only the start.
The donated washers and dryers will help create a more efficient and functional environment, something that the directors of the home are grateful for.
Every time I buy a washing machine in 2 months, washing all these clothes for 10 people and having to dry, the machine always giving trouble. And I stand here today, Mr. London, thanking you for this gift that is most appreciated at this time.
And Mr. Azar is so impressed with the operations of the home that he's promising more.
Pearl has mentioned 2 beds. That I will give. Okay, I will bring that from my company. So I'll do my endeavor best to give my charity from my company every year to put something towards this home.
The organizers have also planned to contribute to the Starting New at Golf or SNAG program, an initiative which focuses on teaching school-aged children the fundamentals of golf. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Often we have a vague idea of the mandate of our public institutions. Clues are often found in the name given to the organization, but there are also instances when it barely captures or tells the full story. What often happens is that the very people these organizations are created to serve don't have the full picture about the range of services available. How can this be changed? For starters, a publication that looks at the accomplishments and activities over a specific period. And that's the idea behind Docile Digest. Omadara Mills explains.
You can now walk into public offices and pick up the first publication of Docile Digest. And even though it will provide you with information about the Division of Settlements and Labor's major activities, there's another reason why this publication has been created.
We also have a responsibility to be transparent to the people of Tobago and people such as our stakeholders. So it's a way for people to know on the outside what's going on the inside here, the everyday things that go on in the Division of Settlements and Labor.
And what can readers expect from this first publication?
We highlighted Safety Week, which is a big deal with our Department of Labor. So you'll see pictures of that. You'll also see some pictures of us at site visits, specifically Corland and Adventure Housing Development, which is part of Settlements Department.
The second issue is expected to be out by early next year. And with that and other publications, Tobagonians will be able to have a better understanding of the division's responsibilities.
We need to make it a little more open to our public by producing more copies, number one, and number two, for the information that's within that people can access and know how readily available. All our grants and subsidies and all our programs are available to them. So we want to stamp really our corporate identity when we come forward in our next issue.
With the Dorsal Digest, it's hoped that more Tobagonians can stay informed about what's happening with settlements and labor on the island and to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the division. I'm Omodara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time to take another break, but on the other side, a DVD that can help boost our cricketing talent on this island. Details on the other side.
A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. Teach children how to escape on their own in case you can't help them. Close doors behind you as you leave. If the smoke alarm sounds, get out and stay out. Never go back inside. If you have to escape through smoke, get low and go under the smoke to your way out. Call the fire service from outside your home. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service.
You're viewing Let's Talk Tobago, and we're at the Scarborough Methodist Church in Tobago's capital. In 1963, when this island was devastated by Hurricane Flora, this building actually remained standing and accommodated the Scarborough Anglican Church, which no longer had a place to worship. Today, the church continues to work within the community. The Methodist primary schools, visits to the hospitals, various homes and shelters are just some examples. But this church also sought out for what some might call a vain reason: the view it provides as brides and their wedding parties walk down the aisle facing the picturesque Scarborough waterfront. The Super Sixes tournament will begin on January 11th at the Louis D'Or Recreation Ground, but that's just one of many efforts to transform the game of cricket in Tobago. There's another program, 3 years in the making, which has finally been completed and launched. We're talking about the Davia Chambers Cricket Coaching Series. The instructional DVD is the first in a series of comprehensive video tutorials on the game of cricket. It will help young cricketers to develop proper form and technique from the onset, and it's now available right here on this island.
Schools like Wim Anglican, which took home the Atlantic Primary School's national cricket competition in the past, now have an instructional DVD that can assist them and others in developing their skills even more. A coaching series by professional cricketer Davia Chambers. It will teach cricketers the right batting techniques of batting, pitch and equipment, wicket keeping, and so on.
You would know how very important it is to learn proper technique from the start. You always hear about the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's very easy to teach somebody the right things from a very tender age. And this product is really geared towards creating parameters within which coaches, parents, teachers can impart proper knowledge and technique on the game of cricket. So it provides that opportunity.
And in a world that is so modernized, what better way to relay knowledge?
The technology that is used in preparing athletes, and I'm using athletes very, very broadly to include all disciplines. Preparing athletes to best be suited for their competitive situations.
So while Tobago hasn't produced a Brian Lara, at least not yet, with this instructional DVD, our chances have increased as icons in the game are also sharing tips.
Any attempt at providing the coaches and trainers and so on with information and instructional material that would allow them to better prepare their charges, that excites me.
It's hoped that the DVD will form part of all schools' cricket clinic curricula. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
And as you might know, there are many programs to give the game a higher profile on this island. Many local and regional competitions have been hosted in Tobago, one of which is the Tobago zone of the Trinidad and Tobago Secondary Schools Cricket League. Let's revisit the winners and take a look at some of the young sportsmen and women who've embraced the game and participated in that competition.
Signal Hill Secondary School is at the top of the standings in the high school cricket category as the school won majority of the prizes in the Secondary Schools Cricket League. The school was named champions of the Super Sixes tournament, champions of the T20 tournament. They also won the Girls Open T20 championships and ultimately walked away with the Tournament Championship Challenge trophy. But that's not all. The school also took home the prizes for the best batsman, the best bowler and female cricketer of the year. The title of male cricketer of the year went to Scarborough Secondary.
Let me urge you, do not mistreat your body. Substance abuse, stay away from that. Eat what is right. Give yourself enough rest. Train hard.
Advice that's timely because the championship school still has more work to do.
And we must give praises to Signal Hill Secondary School, who would be campaigning in the championship division come 2015 in the General League, both in Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's time to have your say, the segment of our program where we hear from you, our viewers. Now, Tobago is known for its beaches. Storbay, Mount Irvin and Castara provide access to some of the island's top snorkeling spots. The surfers head to Grafton and Mount Irvin to catch the big waves, and those who just want to lounge and soak up the sun generally choose Pigeon Point, Palatuvere and Castara. If you're a lover of the beach, this is the island to be on. But around late December, the Met Office begins issuing rough seas bulletins, warnings of dangerous marine conditions. During this time, sea bathing and sea travel are discouraged. So today we're asking, what precautions must you take when a rough seas bulletin is issued? This is what you said.
Well, I would prefer not to go to the beach because there's a possibility that I might get swept away.
I'll stay home because I understand what rough sea bulletin means in Tobago. At Christmas time, the seas are always rough.
I would rethink my actions as an individual because you don't want to go and endanger your life.
I would rather stay home, because it's really rough. And those sea on the western side is really rough sometimes, Oh, gee, I feel so sad.
Well, I really don't go to the beach often, but if you get a bulletin like that, then you take necessary precautions and stay away from the seas.
And that's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. Remember, you can send us your comments or queries on anything you've seen in this program to information@tha.gov.tt, or you can visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Davia Chambers, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, have a safe and enjoyable week. And as we go, let's leave you with some final images of the Scarborough Methodist Church.